Much. Hey, everybody. My name is Gill Sotu. It is my honor to host this segment of Sounds of Change. Because us poets, we feed off of energy. I'm going to ask in the most humble way possible. If you can, you don't have to unmute yourself, but if you could turn on your camera so we could see your bright and shiny faces, just so that we can feel your energy digitally. It's already hard enough via Zoom. But the more that you can share your picture, even if you're looking down, it just makes us feel like we're connected. If you can't, we understand. You know, sometimes it's not makeup day. Sometimes you got stuff going on in the background you don't want nobody to see. Your business is your business, but it'll help us a lot if you can share your screen with us. Not share your screen. I'm sorry. Turn on your camera. All right. Don't share your screen. That's a whole other technical thing. My name is Gill Sotu. I am a poet and playwright and DJ. I produce shows. I do a little bit of everything. And when it comes to art, I'm a teaching artist at the Old Globe and Intrepid Theater and a couple of other places. And it's just, again, my honor to be here with you all. When Mika asked us to do this, I thought that this is just a great cause to really educate people about voting, and we just heard from the last speaker, and you know, I feel like she spoke so eloquently and from the heart, and this is just the more with more facts, and this is the more creative side of it. And we're gonna hit you at both angles to get you to be passionate and to spread the word. Because I'm already knowing that most of you have registered to vote, but the important thing now is to spread the word to other people, because we definitely don't have everybody registered to vote. So we spoke to your head, and hopefully us as poets, after Rosie was done, we could speak to your heart. So I'm gonna introduce the first poet. Sharon Elise works as a professor of sociology at the California State University, San Marcos, where she conducts research and teaches on critical race and gender issues. She also serves as Associate Vice President, South of Racial and Social Justice for the California Faculty Association, the union representing over 29,000 faculty in the California State University system. She brings her sociological insight to poetry and poetics to sociology, and her recent poetry publications are in the San Diego Poetry Annual and Border Voices. This is what I want you to do. Before I say this young lady's name one more time, I need everybody to have their chat open. And when a poet says a dope line, or if you just enjoy their energy or whatever, I just need you to put your emojis and clap or snap, whatever you have to do to let us feel you. That's what I'm gonna ask. Or you can write, you know, that was beautiful, whatever it is, but we're gonna give love to the poets, and the poets are gonna give love to us, and it's just you're gonna feel the energy digitally. All right, so without any further ado, let me introduce to you Sharon Elise.
Thank you. That was very la-la, by the way.
Hey, that's all right. I love la-la.
It's okay. So I'm going to do two short things here because they're kind of connected. And I like to just go right into it. The border is everywhere and in your mind. It doesn't exist for reals. It doesn't. But how does an imaginary line kill? She crossed the border. She crossed from TJ to Chula Vista. She walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked. Chris crossed the border of race and color and nation and class. She crossed the border, swam the Rio, survived the desert, managed montañas. She crossed the border from Barrio Logan to Del Mar, or the asphalt border from Sage Scrub to cul-de-sac worksite, or the freeway from the San Joaquin moving west from Fresno to Watsonville, or east from grape and lettuce and strawberry fields to the slaughterhouses of Chicago. She crossed the border. She didn't cross the border. It doesn't exist for reals. But this imaginary line kills, and it lives in the mind, preserved in ice. She was born here. Her people were born here when here was there, but now here is there. So she was born there. She crosses the border from there to here. Where there is work, there is food for the children. Where there is work, there is life. She crosses the border. The border has grown like a virus preserved in ice. It spawns new fences, and minute by minute, men carry it in parts. It springs up 3 places, one night in Oceanside. It lives in Escondido, fertilized by the city council, occupies and preoccupies Vista. The border grows like a virus, sprouts up in playgrounds, between desks in classrooms, and between people in the aisle in the grocery store. She crosses the border their eyes carry, plants a short hoe in each heart, digs for the love seated by Gandhi, blowing west to Martin Luther King, carrying cottonseed courage to face down southern fire hoses, turn into a tumbleweed movement of steady feet. Listen, you could hear the guitar strum, the beat of the drum, the call. Second piece. This year, the virus crept across borders unhindered by any National Guard, Coast Guard, Border Patrol, or ICE. Carried in whispers or shouted, wrapped in a laugh or song, cried or coughed into us, it came. Crept into the old and sheltered, seeped through the air among young partygoers, swept the room in the gruff calls and stories of men in pubs, carried in hugs. It came, attacking our humanity, our sociality, our need to share body and story, song and argument. Connection became a vehicle of infection, and we became afraid of each other. Or worse, we denied the force, refused the mask, and turned against our most common sense of survival. Too many of us became viral. When we chanced to see a movie of the old days when we kissed, hugged, and touched people outside our pod, it seems odd, simple things like sharing a drink from the same cup, leaning in to whisper to a friend, raising our voices in anger, despair, or surprise without thinking of the virus aerosolized. And how we long and ponder when we can be normal, touching, shouting, loving, and fighting close together again.
Mm. Woo, way to kick it off. Way to kick it off. Sorry for being la la, but you deserve la la. I know you don't like it, but hey.
No, I like to be one with everybody.
You are definitely. Your poetry definitely speaks to that. All right, so I'm going to bring up our next guest. Not only does he have a record collection that's going to make you jealous, this young man is the associate publisher of the San Diego Poetry Annual and an associate professor of sociology at San Bernardino Valley College. He received his PhD in cultural studies from Claremont Graduate University, exploring histories, representation, and the use of poetry in hip hop and Black popular culture. He continues to write and perform with the performance art collective BK Soul, but that's the official, bio. Let me say what I really feel about this man. This dude, I have known him for over 10 years now, I think, and we just grew in poetry together. We both were doing poetry before we met each other, but we've just always had this love and respect for one another in our work. I'm just so proud that he just scholastically just killed it and became a PhD and official doctor. And we knew each other before children. Now we're all fathers and old and beautiful. And it's just been an amazing experience to get to know this brother. And according to his biopic, he'll put on a bow tie for you, but ain't gonna tie it. Please give it up for Ant Black.
Woo, Ant. I love you all. I love you, Gill.
All right, Ant, kick it.
Yeah, so let's just do the poem, right? I first read this speech on a banner hanging over the love seat at my auntie's house. Martin Luther King's side profile overlooking the Washington Monument underneath him. The entire transcript to the I Have a Dream speech in 1963. True story. This is how I learned how to read. But even as a 7-year-old, I never understood how a person with the title of Reverend and the title of Doctor would become most famous for going on and on about something anyone can do, dream. I believe the way they take your power is by reducing you to a symbol of a person that anyone can be. Martin Luther King was a theologian, a preacher, a teacher, a scholar, a philosopher, a father, Coretta's ideal partner, an orator, an organizer, a writer, head pastor of a church 2 times, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., read more, studied more, served more, and listened to more stories of what it means to be American and poor by the age of 39 than most of us will ever do any one of those throughout our entire life. So how are you going to tell me what Martin Luther King Jr. thinks, and you've never listened to an entire speech? How are you going to tell me one of those, if Martin Luther King were alive today, he would say phrase, and you won't acknowledge that inequality people of color still face? I'm not here to mess up nobody's celebration, but we can't talk about a dream without talking about the Alabama state trooper that shot Deacon Jimmy Lee, without talking about the state-sanctioned policies that have Black folk in the back of the bus seats, without talking about the basement of a 16th Street Baptist church, without talking about the bloodstains Myrlie Evers cleaned off her driveway, without talking about the good folk who ain't racist, but don't understand why all of those people don't stay in their places. Martin Luther King gets reduced to empty phrases in blackface portraying how America was made great. But before we do that, let's check the data. The more things have changed, the more they have stayed the same. Last time that I checked, in southern states, schools are just as segregated as they were the year after Martin Luther King died. Last time that I checked, in Florida, Black voters are 5 times more likely to be disenfranchised than whites. Last time that I checked, in California, the response to rising rent and the lack of affordable housing is to retrace the patterns of white flight. Last time that I checked, even with the Black president of the United States of America, the gap in income inequality between Blacks and whites grew more wide. This is why my mouthful of praise sometimes sounds like confrontation and righteous anger. Why when I lift my hands to God, sometimes my fists are closed. Why I kneel in prayer and in protest. Don't forget, Martin Luther King's last Sunday sermon was titled Remaining Awake During a Great Revolution. And 50 years later, we still out here talking about stay woke. As the story goes, Martin Luther King was more than halfway into his March on Washington speech when 50 feet into the crowd, he heard the sound of Mahalia Jackson saying, "Tell him about the dream." And without breaking his gaze upon the crowd, he gathered his notes, slid them to the left of the podium, out of sight, and began to tell the people, "I have a dream. I believe. The way you exercise power is by speaking God's love into action, even if you hadn't planned to say or do that thing." I remember reading Martin Luther King's speech as a 27-year-old graduate student in Sharon Elise's class, slouched on my living room couch. True story. This is when I decided I might get a PhD. When I understood how easy it is to forget or to fight for social justice, but the hard part is having the courage, the knowledge, and the optimism to create possibilities out of a shared dream. Thank you. Do I get to introduce Gill now? Gill can't introduce himself because he already introduced himself.
Yes.
Wow,
Let me tell
that was
you,
dope, man.
There's so much I could say about Gill Sotu and his love for poetry, using poetry to edutain, enlighten, create, inspire. But the biggest compliment I can give a poet is when they can take the most simplest of words or phrases or images, and that will stay with you for a long time. And the first poem that I heard Gill say, his last line and last 2 words of a poem was, "It's Sunday." It's Sunday. And whenever I'm stressed or want to get away, it's Gill's voice that I hold on to saying, "Because Sundays," right? Not "It's Sunday," because Sundays, because Sundays. So Gill is forever a comrade in poetry, a comrade in thought and ideas and inspiration, and all the work he's doing and the accolades and pushing not just poetry forward in our community, but nationally, as you hear my kids in the background, is well deserved. So he told you about the Old Globe. He told you about his work. He didn't talk about being on TED Talks. He didn't talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, anytime you hear this, brother, it's a treat. Gill Sotu.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. All right. So I'm just going to get into it. In love, I lace my Converse buckle my pants, don a shirt that allows for mobility, and give myself one last look in this mirror. I really need to clean this thing, but right now that doesn't matter. What I really need is just one more final moment to bathe in this reflection and convince myself that I am what I say I am. No excuses, no takebacks or apologies. Say my name. In love, I hop out the car, the whip, the ride, the hoopty, on my bike, on the bus. This is just a beautiful day to just walk. And I turn up my music that makes me feel powerful, beautiful, proud, intelligent, gangster, connected, hella black. I'm saying hella black, and I love it. I require my music louder than you might like because I need my head right before I gotta clock in, attend this meeting, smile in your condescending face, deal with your microaggressions, address this officer, show my ID, show my receipt, code switch, apply for this loan, apply for this job, meet your family, and or stop you from touching my hair. Say my name. In love, I invite you to my family's barbecue. I'll play in your league, make you feel welcome in my church, in my restaurant, on my block, at my spades table, around my children, at my concerts, in my damn house, on my skin, between my lips and out my mouth. You lay your pillows upon my hospitality, knowing that you have 400 years of conditioning and an entire police force to cover any nighttime chills you might face. Say my name. In love, I can't stand to look at you. I can't stand the way that you look at me sometimes. Like you're trying to figure out where at this hour you're going to find another hoop for me to jump through or entertain you with or slam a ball through or slap around my wrists. Like it's okay. I'm okay for the moment, but I better not dare get any more familiar. Like I need to stay a sitcom away, a football field away, an NBA court, a concert stage, a car stereo, a manager, a publicist, an agent, a supervisor, and a neighborhood away. Say my name. I'm asking you in love to show me the same respect and consideration that you want me to show you. You act like I don't see the adoration that you show your pets. You will kiss them in the mouths openly, but you get uneasy shaking my hand, allowing me in your space if I am not working it or even seeing me as worth your time. I know. It can't be all of you. I'm generalizing. Doesn't that just suck? So if you're ready, I think it's time that we met. I mean, I've entertained, loved, served, obeyed, worked for it, hired, admired, listened, educated, slaved for, amused, and scared you for so long you think that we know each other a lot better. How about we start with names? Me first this time. My name is Sandra, George, Trayvon, Ahmad, Sean, Brianna, Natasha. I'll just stop there for a second. I know that's a mouthful, but didn't I hear you say over and over and over again you were hungry for justice? Good. I'm glad that we're in agreement. Now say my name. In love. I've been in love with my people since Aretha. No, before that, since Nina, since Fats and Langston, since Marcus Frederick and Madam CJ, since my mama taught me that my head should default in the up position, that I am what I say I am, that whips won't stop this love inside of me, that shackles won't stop this love inside of me, that police dog, nooses, hoods, handcuffs, food deserts, detention centers, defunded schools, community centers, or derogatory jokes behind my back won't stop this love inside of me. You have tried it all. Try me. I know I am worth every bit the same as you. My life matters. Say it. Say it in love. Say it because when we were free, we didn't start our own KKK. We just wanted our God-given legal right to sit in the same polished table that you ate from, and we still don't got it, like Aunt just said. So you say it in love, because if you love your neighbor, then you love me. If you love your teachers and your doctors, if you love your soldiers and your emergency workers, then you have to love me. And you want to know something funny? Despite all that has been done to me for over 400 years, I love you too. Because you're a human being. Because your laugh sounds like my grandfather's. Because you quote Shakespeare almost as good as my uncle. Because you cried with me when Prince died. Because you are holding the sign next to me in this protest, because you are holding my hand at church, because you made diversity matter at your company, because you taught your children our history. And what do you know? It ain't even February. In love. I come home at the end of the day, knowing that I might not even be safe there. I kick off my worn Converse, strip the pants and my shirt off, still haven't had time to clean this mirror. It's exhausting trying to play catch up. I can think of nothing better to do than to wash off the residue of, well, everything. But first I need this mirror. I need to let myself know that I am what I say I am, that I have a name worth saying. Love. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, Gill.
Thank you so much. Because I want to hear from my two partners in rhyme right now to close out this segment, I'm going to do one more piece, and then I'm going to kick it to Sharon. We're going to kick it to Ant, and then we have someone that was inspired enough to do our open mic segment. If any of you want to share a poem, Rosie, I know you have one underneath all the documents that you want to share. Mika, I know that you have something that you want to share. Just hit us up in the chat, and I'll make sure that I call on you. But this is my final piece. This is something I did for TEDx San Diego recently, and it's called Don't Look Away. And the reason why I have this poem is, you know, in this time, it is so important that we not look away this time. For a lot of times, and I know in my own life, I can only speak for myself, but maybe you can think about the times where, you know, people were making decisions for you, and you just let it happen. I just watched The Social Dilemma, and the guy said on the Social Dilemma one thing that just rocked my world. He's like, they're in Silicon Valley right now, there are 25 to 35-year-old white dudes deciding what you look at social media and how it's programmed to make you want more and more and more. So psychology wise, they're really just dictating your behavior. And that just shook me, that just the thought of that. This time we have the choice. Every day we have the choice not to look away. And this is what this poem is about. Here we go. Do you hear that? It's right over there. I know it's scary, but you gotta look. No, not there. There. You see, right amongst the gleaming twilight, past the amber waves of grain. No, you're looking in the wrong place. You're so silly. You were always looking in the wrong place. Listen for the drums. The drums tell the story of battle, of peace, of banners of blood spilt upon bloody beliefs, of pilgrims and promises, of godlike documents with the ability to determine for decades the destiny of who will be the disadvantaged and those who will cradle comfortably in future history's hammock. I completely agree with you. I had no idea that the right to bear arms included pens, that something so seemingly harmless could bastardize and monetize the hearts of men. Listen for the drums. The drums tell the story. Tell me you see that. Past the oak tree and all the dark fruit hanging from it. Go back a few hundred years past that. Past the oak tree and all the dark fruit hanging from it. Go past the few years past that. Do you see that treaty lay torn on the ground right next to the sleeping buffalo? I know. Let's just call the buffalo sleeping for now. Just listen for the drums of the song. The songs always tell the story. There, right there. That is where they're going to build America. And no, we're not invited yet, but we're coming anyway. We're marching in like a college drum line, like swans escaping the winter into the beating heart of the sunshine. And this time we're going to keep watch. This century, we will stand century. We cannot look away. We cannot look away. This is the most important movie you will ever see. Don't walk out of the theater after the fancy special effects. Pay attention to the end credits. Who is the director? Who are the producers? Who was involved in writing the script? And what were their true inspirations? Who has the key grip upon your community? And who are merely actors playing a role? Do you know any of this? Do not look away this time. I know the plain text on the screen is boring. So while you are reading, listen to the score in the background, the soundtrack, the drums, the songs, the voices always tell the story. The drums, the songs, the voices always tell the story. They are saying we are here. This is the spot where revolutions happen. If that word is too buzz for you, let's just call it a renovation. This is the spot where the second great American renovation happens, and it doesn't look like the picture we all envisioned yet. But this is the spot where the work begins. The drums, the songs, the art, the voices always tell the story. It's time. Pull out whatever is your God-given instrument and sing. Thank you, guys. All right. So it is my extreme pleasure to introduce back on the stage Miss Sharon.
Shout out. What's going on? Never forgot the words of Marvin Gaye's song. Still singing Jimmy's bombs when they play that patriotic tune, and thinks Negroes and T.O. Tom's crazy when that sends them in a swoon. All the president's men against the UN telling lies on TV, we could see clearly, though it takes a dark vision to see. Colin Powell draw a lie in the sand, looking sick when he sells us the plan for the man. A black man in uniform who'd held command was clearly on a string, helping string up the poor to fight that new war. Soldiers come mothers of children and wives of men, students, fathers, cousins, and friends, and they leave. When you run into them here and there, they have that haunted air. We saw come back from Vietnam with new words like napalm, telling us we can't picture the things they'd seen. But we've already been shown the faces blown off children, still photo images posted in the internet free-for-all, Abu Ghraib brutality sketched on city walls, Guantanamo Bay stories call on humanity to stop this insanity that too many of us have seen and heard before, the common refrain of imperial wars. But this time their boots stormed the polluted grounds of a new century with no apology, little rationality, aspiritual, insane religiosity. I am afraid for you and me, but I am more afraid of our fear. And it grows to be the force, the drive, the motivation, coupled with fear of new and old enemies of whose nation? We need education to curb the ignorance TV cultivates. Government influence decides what there is to know. The right to speak belongs to the high and rich, and the poor is still kept poor and low and slow. Wrap the word in the Bible for the latest minstrel show. It might seem I be doing okay, but we wear the mask. This, my out the house look. I know, sometimes I just want to be dead in my head, but change can't wait for my high. You can see how they invented blackness as a crime, white Christianity as the cure, capitalist money-chasing power grabs the lure, build bigger walls to defend against people pauperized by dollars since free trade has only one free feature. Corporate piracy is the wild creature allowed to exploit the earth and us. Major thing missing is social justice. So who is left to spring us out of this place Malcolm called a prison? Them that stayed unembedded off GETV and the fear-feeding Fox family, that been out there surfing the web for real news wildly, that personally sign each protest petition electronically. Too many dead friends and don't know no ghost dance. Friends in exile and others doing penitentiary penitence. Some who sold out for McMansion lifestyle. Some ain't been political for a long, long while. Some too scared to speak out. Some don't know nothing about what's going on. But let's grab some folks from the usual places and hope the usual suspects won't disgrace us, but will come with a vision, or at least the collective decision to fight on. And speaking of collective, who is it we gonna be? I mean, us Negra, colored, and Negro, and Afro, and black, and African American, and African diaspora, all our original names in lost tongues, blessed by ancestor worship and filial love. So be you one black for the nation in red, blood spilling out Darfur, what for our diamond wisdom saints of old, pyramids and planetary circumference and quantum physics comely people. Green lost our connection in desertification and deforestation and colonization and the penultimate humiliation of slavery. And gold, the reason we were sold. And the only ticket back to who were we when we be free.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oof, wow. I love it, Sharon.
Yeah, we are small, but we are mighty right now. There's something beautiful happening right now, and I'm loving what's happening so far. All right, to bring us on home for the featured poet spot, I'm going to give it up for Ant Black.
Yes, it is so awesome to hear Sharon read. It just makes me feel at home. I realize I'm not crazy when I hear her words, because this is the same words inside my head. When we were talking, or in the title of this, we were thinking about consciousness, and a Black consciousness is something that I've had to work very hard to uncover, discover, and name. I don't think I ever had to figure it out for myself. It was always there, but to identify. And one of the toughest questions was ever asked was, well, what makes something Black? And I've spent an entire grad program. Let me phrase it. I spent 2 grad programs trying to answer that question. And so sometimes the answer is just in who you are and what you are. And poetry has become a way to name and explore. And so sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? Because our language is not the language of English originally. So I wrote this piece just trying to figure it out with all the history and the concepts and the feelings that I was learning. And so if it doesn't make sense, it's literally a free ride after a dream. And let me say this last thing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing this introduction, but I come from the poetic tradition of Etheridge Knight and Shirley Caesar. So sometimes my language is prayerful and sometimes my language is just extra colorful. So y'all just got to deal with this in this piece. Y'all just got to deal with that. I dream time in pretzeled history, the universe bending through black star lines like tomorrow was the first day of an Afro-American past. Lincoln signs the Emancipation Obamacation. The Revolutionary War started by Crips addicts with a Glock 9 sideways firing redcoats. CLR James playing a Negritude song on a solo saxophone with Marvin Gaye singing the soldiers to sleep. We all inner city blues considering the world is a global village. I dream time en français. Xavier de St. George composes the Jeffersons theme song in G minor. Du Bois' portraits of the talented 10th at the World's Fair had Amy Cesar talking about niggas in Paris way before Kanye and Jay. Les Musées de l'Homme preserves the skeleton of Sasha Bartman because it's all about that bass, Harriet said, no trouble. I dream time against race. Fanon's Wretched of the Earth becomes vermin in capitalism. Create a culture of confusion by consuming the creators of the culture. Black skin in white mask. We real cool in the hooks, but can't make bail from the books. San Quentin or San Marcos, we are all doing 4 to 5 year bids at state. Pipes and lines, the best way to describe our path to institutionalization. I dream time on Atlantic winds. The id knows nothing about racism being accidental. There are no malfunctions in stratification, no understudy in the performance of colorblind jive, no rapping our way out of this country's strong arm. Ask Louis Armstrong what happens when they love your performance a little too much. The line between appreciation and appropriation as thin as guitar strings. 2020 minstrel shows are recording studios. Our Jim Crow is their American Idol. Empire words from the mouths of the multitude, the nation state and blackface. How does it feel to be the dinner guest that makes them not racist? They tell me the bouquet of Kool-Aid will make this country great again. Assimilation ain't nasty with a little bit of trapeze. And if you close your eyes hard enough while eating your fried chicken, you can't hear them laughing in your dreams.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm glad I was on mute because I was.
I know, me too.
This is my church, y'all. This is my church.
The bouquet of Kool-Aid. I love that line. All right. So we're going to keep it going. We had, like I said, somebody that was so inspired they wanted to perform in the open mic section, which is now.
Yes.
This is what we all wanted to see. So if Connie can step up and unmute his or herself. I don't want to assume, or their self.
Okay, Connie's here.
All right. And whenever you want to read.
Okay, I don't know what type of poet you would call it, but I've been writing poetry now for 20-something years. Okay, I'll read one to you. It's called I'm Here. I'm here. There's a reason why, but I don't know. But I'm here. I stroll through the day and continue to ask why, but I'm here. I try to fulfill my everyday, not knowing which way, but I'm here. I sometimes don't want to go out and even play, but I'm here. I try and help each soul I see, always realizing it could be me, but I'm here. But God says this show is what He said is dear when He says it is a must for the He runs this accordingly. But I'm here. Thank you very much.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Connie, sometimes you just got to let them know that you are here, you know, that you have a voice and that your voice matters. That's so important, so important.
Thank
That's
you very much.
yeah, it's the only thing that I try to get across when teaching writing. So thank you. So I'm going to open this up. If anyone wants, we have time for maybe one more. Mika, is that your mom?
Yes, I was trying to keep it a secret because she dropped. She wasn't trying to talk to y'all in the little breakout room, so I didn't want to claim her right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I see where the talent comes from. Okay.
Oh, really?
All right. All right. Cool. So once again, opening it up. If anyone wanted to share one more piece, if not, I will give it back up to Mika. And
I'll read another piece.
okay, we'll do one
Yes,
more.
and Gil, actually, we finish up at closer to 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you have a couple of poems. Yeah, it was supposed to 6:30 to 6:30 to 8:30.
To 8:30.
I was wondering what was
gonna happen. Well, perhaps all three of us poets can do one more piece to close it out. But I want to hear from Connie. That's what I came for.
Because Connie is here.
Connie is here. I can't believe it.
This poem is called What Would He Be? Would he have hair? Would he be black? Would he be single? Would he be right? Would he be a man? Would he be ashamed? Would he be a father? Would he be tall? Would he be fat? Will he be black? Will he be gray? Would he even stay? Would he stray? Would he play? Would he pay? Tell the truth. Even know what to do. Can he love? Can he hug? Was whatever he be. Am I to trust he? Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah. All right. Miss Sharon, do you have one more for us?
I do.
All right.
So we've done a lot of existential Black dilemma here. And I'm sure I'm not alone and always having thought.
You muted yourself.
I was saying, I'm sure I'm not alone in having grown up thinking my family was some strange Negroes.
Everybody.
I have continued to excavate that in my poetry. So that's what I don't usually explain a piece, but that's what this is about. But it could go for volumes on that excavation. Negroes lick Saltine Shirley, temple to the good ship. Mr. and Mrs. Friedman, their son Fetchit, step and study piano. Girls flirt with Bojangles. Even my grandma, the tantalizing 9 ladies, lean on mantles in fox furs with doe eyes, pan gold for the camera. Yesterday's scene in a sepia haze doesn't show dirt, swept, mopped away. We were book rich, had lore for days. There was nothing we knew African. Didn't find art in the quilts or jazz in the sink. For another century. Neighbors were good enough for Sunday school, bad enough for our mama's tongues. Talk about some Even when we snuck back downstairs, children couldn't hear past that. We never knew who married, didn't, where that lone auntie got her girl raised up to be a teacher, why the adults laugh so hard, what that brown stuff they drink. Manners hit the floor with feet mornings, stayed all day humming under your mother's breath, looking out eyes in the back of her head, wait until your father got home or damnation took us all. When grandma comes to town, manners turn tight as an old white glove clutched in your hand to look like a pear. Hard as the dime hid in your shoe so no one knows you stole it. The mirror doesn't show you cross-eyed, but you got smacked looking sideways. Dessert on Sunday and holidays. The rest of the time, a pickle. Sour, pungent, after bitter greens, a different bean every day. Sometimes a bone. After dinner, dishes, bed before sundown. Not so much Negroes as Bryants, Jacobs, Glovers, Thompsons, and Hazels, some fast-talking, calypso-singing West Indians, no feathers or TV shows, island. Some slow-talking, no-sin-doing church with no music playing Texans, run out and off of the ranch, had their own horse, cotton mill, a store, grew everything, could have been rich and dead on the Black Wall Street. Something ashy about us repels. Lotion is the answer. Hand washing in between. There is nothing can't be cured by good manners, clean hands, and moisturizer. Ain't no trouble can't be combed out of your head every morning, braided into worthwhile, presentable, our saving grace. Pity people who talk with food in their mouths, don't wash after peeing, wear no socks in their shoes, ashy elbows and knees on display, they will bring down the race.
That's awesome.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, and can you have one more for us? And then we're gonna go into after you read, I'll read, then we'll do a quick question and answer. And that should be so.
Sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah. So let's do something. I don't. Maybe it's heavy. Maybe it's light. But it's my life. And if you hear my kids in the background, that's just ambiance. It's ambiance music. That's ambiance.
There you go.
Soundtrack. This poem was inspired by the "Before I Die" wall. If you ever had a chance to see it, it's pretty awesome. I spend far too much time worrying about the decorations at my funeral. Purple flowers, as few roses as possible, as gangster or political a rap song that can reasonably be played in a house of worship. I don't want to be worshipped or mourned or pedestaled as if my awkward didn't come off as a-hole. I wrestle with the weight of will there be too many or too few pews? Will the news make it to the folks I pray for daily but haven't spoken to in years? My fear is not for my kids or my salvation or the vacation days that don't cash into the pension. I spend far too much time worrying about what happens when I've run out of time and far too little time planning what happens in life. Before I die, I want to run the 110-meter hurdles one more time. I want to sing Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time in a public space. I want to ask a stranger if there's anything I can do to make their day. I want to watch the sunrise and sunset in the exact same place. I want to throw a Molotov cocktail, not a metaphor. I want to hold a crooked corporation hostage. That's a metaphor. I want to plant raspberries and lilac. I want to lumberjack, cut down a tree and make up for it by planting 100 seeds. I want to see one of my students go from community college to PhD. I want them to come back and teach me. I want to be as free as Che was, or as Jay was, as free to rock a diamond Jesus chain on a Che shirt before I die. I want to be comfortable in my own contradictions. I want to write a blog about nachos. Seriously, the quest for the perfect nachos. I will rank every submission in categories such as cheese to chip ratio, scoopability, sogginess, flavor, heterogeneity. Before I die, I want to teach a class where elected officials can't pass laws until they learn the meaning of the word heterogeneity. Before I die, I want my daughters to see me cry. One time because they made me proud, and one time because I missed my father. before I die, I'm going to plan my funeral. I will write my own obituary. And when it's time to share memories and stories about the things that happened in my life, I want you to honor my memory by telling everybody one more thing you will do before you run out of time.
Wow.
That's a great challenge for everyone.
Woo.
Write one thing that you want to, write something you want to do before you go on to the next stage. That was beautiful.
And also blog about nachos with me.
Yeah.
Love some nachos.
So serious. So serious.
Man, I didn't realize there's so many ways to create nachos, but I'm sure, I guess there is, huh? I know. You know, nachos are great, but it's not my world like Ant. One day I hope to get to that level. All right. So
takes a lot of patience.
Here's my last piece. This one is just kind of you know, a lot of times you don't give yourself your flowers while you're still here. You know, you accomplish all these great things and you pass it by in your head because you're on to that next thing. So this is kind of me celebrating just the fact that I'm an artist and I'm able to provide for my family, which is all I really wanted in the first place. So this is called My Pen Feeds Children. My pen feeds children, cute brown babies. Been spilling ink across sliced trees since the 90s. Backspinning words like beat boys in the 80s. All that to say has been a long time coming. My pen feeds children, never feeds statistics. Leave it up to them, I'd be in jail or a casket. Handcuffed in plastic, body cammed and panicked. Instead I use their words to build worlds. Jurassic, metaphor meals out my mind. Magic, murder any beat that I find. Tragic, pay bills with story and rhyme. Charismatic, God blesses me overtime. Fantastic still. I worry sometimes, what's the kind of world I want to leave behind? What's food to a child that can't breathe outside? Is your need bigger than what I can provide? Some people don't care what you got inside. See your dark skin but don't recognize shine. You're a star to a world that closes its eyes. You're a star to a world that closes its eyes. Blind leading the greedy, prayers wrote in graffiti. I'ma keep fighting till the fight don't need me. People dancing in danger, Instagramming the strangers. See me, you're a beautiful arrangement. Analog or digital, your spirit or your physical. You don't need likes to prove that you are visible. See me, you're a beautiful arrangement. Colorful, kind, and highly entertaining. The spirit or the physical, analog or digital. You don't need likes to prove that you were visible. Indivisible, one nation, under a soul clap, patty whack, give a man a break. You say you're under pressure, but you're the one adding the weight. Soul clap, step back, release the self-hate. Don't it feel good to love yourself that way? That part, you're not defined by what others have. That part, just be happy you got a better half. That part, so many things could have stopped you from being born. You always believed you were a curse, when all along you were a song. In the multiverse of me, I am a 1940s crooner, conch slicked back thick in my hair, protests hidden in my love ballads. I am a sitcom dad. I am a wounded veteran. I am an athlete trying to prove something. I am the first black astronaut, unremembered, sipping cognac on a beat-up sofa, listening to Nat King Cole's Unforgettable. What I am trying to say is every version of me is unprogrammable. God gave us free will, so why in the hell would I allow you to take away mine? I got children